Scrappy friends, welcome to my channel today. If you've been following me this month, I am posting every day in the month of July. If you're new, welcome. So I am working on some Project Life today. This is week 12 for 2020. So this is March, it's in March. It's like March 17th through something. You'd think I'd be prepared for this. So right now I'm just working on getting my pictures in the pockets that I think I want to put them in, and then I'm going to start doing some of these. Let me check and see what actual weeks they are from. Okay, so March 15th through the 21st. And so I'm thinking about using that card from Citrus Twist that says, oh, how she loved to be home, or yeah, oh, how she loved to be home. But I'm going to cover up some of it and put, oh, how we need to be home. So, but I have to kind of move these little tiles. These are old tile stickers from Teresa. Yeah, what's her name? Gosh, yeah, I'm like I'm not even thinking about. I know who it is too, and someone in the comments is going to be like, that's who it is. Anyway, it's okay. So I'm also using some of those gold Maggie Holmes little black ones. And then I'm going to spell week with that because I have two E's. I find that this is one of those problems. I really just should probably get a stamp for the week. And I probably have one because I bought some Felicity Jane stamps that has numbers on them. And I bet it says week on there too. I bet it has one. Or I could even look and see if my Citrus Twist, if I have one that says week, or I might even have like a Allie Edwards for week in the life or day in the life or whatever. I might have week. So I'm going to use these thicker, or they're not really thickers. They're like little thin, glittery ones, but they're what I had for numbers. So some of the Citrus Twist packs of letters that you get in the kits don't have numbers. So I hear noise. Okay. I'm gonna stop being distracted for a second so I can tell you what I'm doing. So I'm sorry about that, guys. So now I am working more. I did this in stages, so that's why it kind of so yeah, I'm gonna cut some of these up around the edges. So I print off at home generally, and so I will say that these photos, I had to get a new printer because my printer it was starting to print really funky. And so the color on these aren't quite the color that I would have liked them to be, some of them. So I had a problem with a few of them being like, they looked a little bit more vintagey. They're not super noticeable with most of these. I noticed the ones that were matte showed a lot more than the ones that were glossy. So sometimes I use matte paper and sometimes I use glossy paper. It just depends. So I'm going to end up cutting that little photo down that I did in more of a square. Generally, I do them just 3x4, well, a little bit smaller than 3x4 so that I can have the edge instead of putting it on just cardstock, which I could do. And then I'm going to use this card, which I believe was a printable from, I probably got it from the Lily Pad, but I'm not sure what part of it. So the Lily Pad is a digital store that has digital products that you can buy and then print them off if you would like. Or you could put them into your editing software, so like Photoshop or Lightroom, and create your projects in there. So I did have to make that a little bit smaller because it wouldn't fit on the card. And I didn't want it like straight flush with the edges. It's kind of hard to tell that it's not, but it did say January stories, but I put that March in there just because it is March and I liked the color, and that was the only thing that was wrong with it. So just a little bit of movement. So that's one thing to think about, is that you don't have to use your cards exactly how they intended for them. So both cards so far I've had to change a little bit to fit my needs. But I think that's what makes it fun and unique too, is that other people also have printed off these cards or used them, and this is how mine is going to be a little bit different. So this is one of those photos that I didn't care how the color really turned out, and really I could reprint it because I did get a new printer at this point, but I'm just going to use it. It's not like that bad, so some people might be bothered by that. But life is short, and there are so many other things that make me bothered. I am going to end up not using that one photo that you see off next to the March stories, or this day in March, and I'm going to end up moving that card over anyway. So I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to put cards and what pictures, and this is where I decide that I'm not going to keep that picture from my kids playing the board game, because I already have another picture of that, and actually that week my kids played tons of board games. So this is the first full week that we are doing the stay-at-home order. At this point, I believe that is what had been in, like, we went from having school closed to like staying at home, the stay-at-home order. My husband, he is in the military, and at this point, he is not home yet. I want to say in the next week or so after this, they end up having him work from home too. So yeah. But I know it's not this week. So this week, the kids spent a lot of time. We did do school, so that is one thing that I put in my journaling. I thought about using that little tag thing, and it would have worked, but I thought it might look kind of funny if I put it down at the bottom, and I wanted it up at the top, but I would have had to put the card on the top part of, like, adhered it to the top of the protector instead of in the protector, because that card would have went on the inside and you wouldn't have seen it over the other thing. So if it was on the other side, it wouldn't have mattered. See, I do have a thing that says week. See, I do have a stamp. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, does it? It's somewhere. This is what happens when you change your room. So this is, yeah, in the first week that I'm using my new room. So now I'm just going to do journaling, and I am going to decide to put some paper up at the top for all that white space. So I could have left it, but this is the thing that I do like to do these kinds of things with the cards. So some of the cards that I'm using are from the Citrus Twist kits. I don't know if this one is or not, or if this is one of the ones that I printed off. I don't remember. And I don't have my spread with me. I really should. So I know I talk a lot about the kids playing games this week, the kids being upset that I made them do school this week because they found out, because we talk about things, they knew that the kids in the school district were going to be doing school from home, but they thought that because they were home, the kids weren't really going to do school, which I suppose some of the kids probably weren't, but I told them that no, in fact, the kids were doing school from home, and our district was pretty good about providing stuff for the kids to do and actually having them like do work from home. So I mean, obviously, it's every family how they can do it. So, yeah, I just used those 2 strips of paper. One was from Citrus Twist, I believe. It was from one of the scraps. And then that little arrow thing. I don't remember what it says. Us, maybe? This is us. So, but I know that this week the kids were playing a lot of games before school starts. A lot of times they like to, on days that we have school, get up a little bit earlier so that they can play, and because we don't start school generally until like 9:30. So this gave them time to play games, and they did that a lot. And there was 1 or 2 of the days that I actually let them play a little bit longer because they were just having so much fun. And this is one of the nice things about homeschooling that you can do is, you can play games a little bit longer instead of doing all the schoolwork. It kind of made this nice transition of us not being able to do the normal things, because I believe at this point we find out that during the week at some point, and I don't know if it was on the weekend or towards the beginning of the week, we found out our library was closing up. And like I said, basically this week is when lockdown starts. So I say lockdown, it really, I don't know if that's the right word. We're like not allowed to go out, but we're very much not supposed to be going out. So we are quarantining even though none of us are sick. So, and only people in our house who worked went out, which was not me and the kids. But, so yeah. And I believe this was the week that church closed too. And so a lot of stuff like shut down that week. So it was quite interesting. Yeah. So on that other card that I stapled, it says clever girl, and I just decided to put clever because it's next to a picture. I knew I wanted to use it near the picture of the kids doing schoolwork. And that's what I talked about on that card, is how the kids really wanted to not do school. And I was like, yeah, we're going to keep doing school and have a routine. And that played well with us. So, so here I'm working on the second half of it. And as you can see, I have quite a bit of pictures. I think this is the hardest part of this is how do I tailor down how many pictures I have, but really get a good glimpse of the week. And it's really hard because for me, it's hard to focus on, like, especially on weeks that I have a lot of photos. And especially at this point and at the beginning of the year, I really wanted to focus on making sure that I was taking photos throughout the week. And some weeks there weren't as many photos. I think my week 2 and 3, I really didn't have that many. But like this week, it's starting to get nicer. The sun is coming out. And so I got this picture of our cats, Mako and Amberly. They really do not care for each other. Well, okay, that's not true. He cares for her because he's like, hey, there's another cat. And she really does not like him. But she tolerates him at this point now. When we first got him, I didn't think we would ever be able to leave them in the same room together. And really, like overnight, we don't let them both out in the same space because I don't trust that he's a kitten and he likes to follow her. So they were like doing the death stare. Now, they also fight over my windows in my scrap room, my old scrap room. And so I take many photos of them. So I took this photo and I just put some little stickers and stuff on there. And I had one leftover heart from Felicity Jane. And so I use that. It's like a speech bubble heart. So I'm going to use that. This was a really fun spread to do because there was enough of like how daily life like impacted what we were doing, because really like that week before we were out a few times during the week. We went to a homeschool thing. We went to met up with a friend at the the library. So we had a lot of stuff the week before, and it was very, very weird to like go from having like all this stuff that we could do normally to like, oh, we're stuck at home and stuff. So it was quite interesting and quite fun to document. And so I did put in there the picture of what like the rules were places that were going to be closed and everything. I thought that would be really fun to see. Now also on this journaling card, I'm going to talk about Sam and how he made lunch one day that week all by himself. I just had to talk him through it, and it was really fun. So that was a fun thing to document too. So here are the close-ups. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope that you come back tomorrow when I have more photos and layouts and all this fun stuff. I've been trying to do lots of different things for you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys later. Bye.